and I know some of you just brought the wine. Why that's useful is because this is really how we generally work with massage with two towels. You'll see that the bottom towel is underneath the top towel, but goes lengthways on the legs, and the top towel just goes across. It's really useful to have the big bath sheet size towels, so that you've got lots of material to work with when you're draping. The alternative is to use sheets. I like using sheets. If I'm working in offices and things, I work with sheets because they're really, you can drape them very well in different circumstances, and you could just use one sheet and fold it down. So I like working with sheets, but we tend to work with two towels. This towel underneath we're going to tuck into the pant line. Now when you're working on the lower back as well as the upper back, you need to give yourself space to do that. So if you notice, I've tucked the towel in, but you'll also notice that I've preserved her modesty. If you start pulling down that lower towel below that area, they start to feel a little bit unsure about what you're doing, and most of the time you don't need to. If you want to get to one side, you can work on one side like that. A lot of the techniques we do on the lower back buttock area we'll do through the towel because you can. And there's different ways that we'll show you as time goes on with that. So just be a little bit aware of, again, forming that trust, that rapport, that relationship with your client and not doing anything to shock them. But the top towel is as it is. Are we in? So we've already done lots of holds. So we're going to start with holds. I don't mind where you go with your holds. You might start here. And this is a great opportunity for you to just explore how light you can make that and how deep you can make that. So I can lean in with my body and make that quite a deep connection, or I can really make that quite light. So taking that pressure off. And remember what I said yesterday, that can be as little as 5 grams. With 5 grams, you're barely connecting physically. It's hard, it's so little. And that will begin to have an effect on your client. It's also a way to feel, to palpate. What the word we use in massage is palpate. When we feel into those tissues to feel what's there. So using those kind of holds gives me a chance to feel how well her tissues move. So if I use a little bit of pressure, can you see how I'm just playing with how that moves and how it doesn't move? So I do quite a lot of that before I start. And I'm going to take that towel down, and I'm going to ask if it's okay to undo that. So I'm not going to spend ages. It appears that my hands are a little cold. Sorry. I'm not going to spend ages doing the things we've already done. I'm going to move quite swiftly on to the things we haven't done. But what we first did was what? And what did we do first? We spread the oil. And can we do that nicely? Yeah. Could we do that with the techniques you've learned? We could. We could start here and spread the oil if you want to. I'm sorry they're cold. But you know what? They're gonna warm up really quickly. Now you have to work out for yourself what's the most comfortable position for you. If you're doing a lot of the side to side, then you need your legs to be side to side. If you're going to do a lot of this kind of stuff, you might want to be side by side. But it's the forward and back that you really need one leg forward and one back. And any of the depth is achieved through your body use. So we also came to the side. So did you catch those techniques that I did there? So one was kind of straight down and back and round and through. Another was that kind of more of an eye shape. But I like to curve that. It's not really an eye. And how safely can I go down with pressure? I can't really go much further than there with pressure. I might be able to reach a bit further, but there's no pressure involved there. And then the other technique was this side to side. I'm going to come to the side. And all sorts of, we did lots of movements like this, did we not? When I tell you not to have the oil bottle in a position where you can knock it over, you'll understand why. We also did pulling through, and that pulling through movement can be just about anywhere, hands side by side, or one hand on top of the other. This is lovely. See how I get around the hip there? Nice around the hip there. So that's just hooking the fingers. Can you get that nice and closely? Can you see everyone? Come a bit closer. Please come closer, because you can't see what I'm doing here. You certainly can't see from there. Can you see? No. Come round. Okay, look at where my fingers are. Now you can see where I am. Now you know why I got you to move. So I've hooked my fingers just around the iliac crest, around the pelvis, and just coming around there. In the same way, I'm going to hook my fingers around here and come back. And I might use the other hand. And we said it's easy to work on the opposite side when you're pulling. Yes? And that same pulling I can use all the way through here. I can use two hands. It's the same techniques. Same techniques I'm showing. I'm trying to remember what's next. Okay, so then we did some two-handed effleurage coming up and around. And then we had one hand on top of the other to create more pressure. Did you notice how I just adjusted my body there? I adjusted my body so that I can actually use more pressure. So now my lower body is going to lean in, and if you look very closely, can you see what's happening around the fingers? Come close, please. Come right closer. Come in. I know you can't get the whole thing, but I want you to get this, okay? Right. Notice now how my whole hand is in contact, but where's the pressure?
Your fingertips.
In my fingertips. Why is it in my fingertips?
So you can feel most.
So I can feel what's going on along the side of the spine. So the pressure, where do you think most of the pressure is? Which bit? Which finger?
This one.
Yeah, my index and my second, what do they call that big finger? Middle finger. Do you think there's any pressure on that ring finger? Nothing. There's actually nothing. Do you know where that ring finger is just stroking up the side of? Absolutely. Could we have a skeleton, Simon? So that, now what I've got is the middle finger and the index finger working along the muscles of the spine, and the ring finger has no pressure on it whatsoever. So if I just show you where I'm going there. So I'm here, okay? I'm here. Let me just show that. Sorry, I'm just trying to get everybody in there. So I am just taking my hand up here slowly, feeling in this gap with that middle finger, and just literally just caressing this spinous process here. Okay? That's what I'm doing.
Hold on.
Same way, and this is how you start to feel. So you're going to use these fingers like your eyes inside their body. Okay? So here, and notice the whole hand's in contact. There's no, the hand isn't here, it's flat, but the pressure is on the fingers. I can go this side here, I'm going to go around the scapula now. Actually, and that is where you're going to find, can you see as I go over there? Watch what happens. Did you notice that? What do you think that is?
Muscle.
Tension, not, but it's quite large, isn't it? Yeah? Can you see that there? If I identify, hang on, whoop, where's she going? Thank you very much for being so helpful. You need to come around here to see. So come around the back. So let's go past that again. And we can guess maybe what that might be. Can you see as I go over, can you see the line of the tension along there? Something in her muscle?
Tension.
What do you think? It might be it might be tension. It's certainly not one of those staples that I found. Okay, so can you see the line? This is how we start to understand where maybe what muscles are involved in the tension. Yeah, I think, well done. Go to the top of the class. Okay, it's possibly the lower trapezius. So it's going in that direction like that, yes? Okay. So sometimes I might move the arm just to feel the edge of this. I'm going to come around the edge of the scapula a bit more there. So I can feel with my fingers all the way around and around the top. And if you go around the top here, I'm coming up, using my finger and going into what's called the spine of the scapula here. So I'm following these lines. Underneath my fingers I can feel all of those ribs as I go around, but also the tension. Okay? We're going to learn how to deal with the tension next time. So this is the two-handed, reinforced hand effleurage. But can you do a lot with this? Yes. Of course you can do a lot with this. If you want to, you can use the heel of your hand for more pressure. So if you have feeling it as working with it. And can you go fast? Of course you can go faster. It's a different technique. Okay? Do you use your body to do it? Absolutely. What if I stopped? What would that be like? What does that feel like?
It feels very warm.
What does it feel like? What's the difference between this and this? I can't even do it.
It doesn't look like there's any pressure.
Well, I can't get the pressure and I can't get the flow. I can't get the flow. Okay? What else was I supposed to teach? I've gone off on tangents, you know that, don't you? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to teach you is just that lovely work around the neck here. And ringing is the other main thing I want to show you. Anybody ever done a Chinese burn on somebody? Yeah. Okay, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Notice how I don't just do a surface across it. And that's quite nice too, because it warms up the skin and the just slightly underlying tissues there. But what I'm doing is a real push-pull. So my whole body is going to go up and down with that. Okay?
What if you're really, really ticklish?
You won't be ticklish with it.
What if
Not if you've got whole hand in contact. Is there any way you would feel ticklish with that? It's quite a firm technique. Can you see how the tissues come together? Can you see how I would use that technique in places like this? Yeah? Anywhere, really. I could use that technique coming up and down here. Anywhere. And what category do you think that technique comes into? Yeah, who said petrissage? It's kind of, yeah, it's much more. If I did it very lightly, it would be more of an effleurage stroke. But actually, when you start to pick up and twist the tissues, And you can do that in a very small area as well. So then it's definitely a petrissage. And we did some of these petrissage. The thing about the scooping is that both hands come together in a kind of soft way.
So just gliding past.
They're not gliding past, so come and look more clearly. Because I don't go past, I kind of stop at that point and let it go.
Ah,
Okay? If I went past, it wouldn't be very pleasant.
of course, okay.
Sorry to do that to you. It wouldn't be very pleasant. So you get to that point where you're squeezing the tissues and you're just going to let it go, release that a little bit. I don't know why I've shown you this, because I don't use it that much. But for some people where you can't grasp a lot of tissue to do the petrissage, it's actually quite a useful way of doing petrissage. And then, so we've done light and medium, and now we're going to go back to light in some way. Hey? So I might come back to, and what's the nice thing about coming back to the light? I mean, there's a lot of physiological reasons we do it, but what do you think this might be nice for? Relaxation, definitely relaxing. It's a good way to complete, isn't it? When you've done all that work and then you're doing something like a stroke and you finish here,
It's complete.
they kind of know it's over, right?
It's kind of like.
And there's your connection. There's your connection sort of finished there. Okay? Yeah. That's it. I think that's it.